Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to big episode 75. I can't believe we've done 75 of these goddamn things. But yeah, we actually have a big show tonight because it's been a while, but we have a guest, and with us tonight is Vito Gesualdi. He's a
Hello.
He's a comedian. He's a YouTuber. He's a game designer, which we can get into. And as of this recording, he's just closing in on 200K subs.
It's gonna happen one of these days.
God damn, that's
and then
awesome.
I'll kill myself. So this will be my last podcast appearance.
No.
It's an extra special night then. But also, yeah, congrats, man, on having your latest Star Wars video hit. What, 1 million views after 2 months?
Yeah, two and a half maybe.
Yeah,
I usually go off the rails on podcasts, so I'm just prepare for that.
Nah, it's all good, man.
There's nothing at all formal about this, and especially since we have to do it over shitty Skype, I'm sure we'll talk over each other, and if anything takes you on a tangent, man, just go with it. That's what it's all about.
Star Wars sucks. I make some videos about how Star Wars sucks. They're pretty funny. I find them entertaining. I chuckle. Are they a gift to creation? No. Am I sometimes ashamed that my greatest achievement in life is shitting on the hard work of others? No. But hopefully it is a stepping stone towards new horizons for myself and the people around me.
Nice, man. So you said right before we got started you were grabbing a beverage. Is there any chance you're drinking some beer with us tonight?
I don't think I have any alcohol in my house.
Damn.
The only alcohol I have is what is that thing? You cook chicken with it.
Marsala?
Yeah, Marsala.
Yep.
So I could drink some sweet wine. I don't think you're supposed to drink that by itself, though. It's like a dessert wine, really.
That would have some terrible results for you.
Yeah.
What about you, Jim? What you got tonight?
Well, I have the Simply Limeade, by the way. Simply.
Nice.
Well, I have got the Project Azorian Mexican hot chocolate inspired pastry stout. Comes to us from the Hen House Brewing Company out of Santa Rosa, California. And it's got cinnamon, vanilla, chili peppers, cardamom, cocoa, nibs, and nutmeg. And this is a shitload of flavor with every sip. Holy crap.
Did you say it was Mexican hot chocolate?
Yep.
That's interesting.
So is it hot chocolate, or it has notes of hot chocolate? Is it a beer or a hot chocolate?
It's a beer. It's a stout, but it's got all the
hot chocolate beer.
Yeah, it's got all the familiar symptoms with the cocoa and the cinnamon and the vanilla and all that shit. Better hot chocolate than I make.
See, I'm a pussy when it comes to drinks. Like I'll drink, I like Miller High Life, just nice and clean. Tastes like soda.
Oh,
I like wheat beers.
You just keep that shit simple, right?
I've been wanting to make tiki drinks, though. I want to embrace the tiki drink lifestyle. There was a portion of time in this country. You're familiar with tiki drinks, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a period of time in this country where this Polynesian culture influence, but it's not a real culture. It's an invented white people version of Polynesian culture where they're like, yeah, they drink alcohol out of skulls. It's like, no, they don't. But it's fun. It's interesting. So I gotta get some tiki glasses, and I want to make garbage with pineapple juice and whatever else. I think pineapple juice is the most important part.
That,
coconut.
Some rum, some lime.
Coconut, yeah. It's hard to get tiki. I want like real tiki glasses, like the ones they used to make. I don't want like new ones. I want to go into a thrift store and find some real tiki cups.
Well, I guess you're out in California. You'd be able to see that there, because up here in Philly, we don't have any of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's some closed tiki places that you drive past. And you're like, I wish they were still open, but they're not. I went to some famous tiki thing in San Francisco, but it was super expensive. They have like a lagoon in the middle of everything. So you're like sitting at your table in the middle. It's indoor lagoon. And I think there's guys on gondola. I don't even remember. It was insane. Like, that's what they used to do.
Before everything shut down and the world ended.
It's completely legit.
Well, before we decided you're not allowed to culturally appropriate everybody else's culture and make it into invented garbage.
Oh, I guess there's that too.
Yeah.
Well, Jim's doing it tonight with his Mexican hot chocolate, so we're all good.
Stealing cultures.
I have my sombrero and everything ready.
That's what's important.
All right, Jim. So tonight I'm trying out some shit you would definitely drink. I got the Captain Lawrence Brewing Company's Hops and Roses, which is essentially it's old ale brewed in oak barrels with rose hips, elderflowers, and hibiscus. This shit is sour as hell. It's from 2016, so it's old as hell.
Ooh.
I don't think it should have been aged this much because it tastes. It's almost as sour as a goddamn warhead. And it's really fucking tart. And it's not bad if you like that, but I just was not expecting that. So, interesting choice.
You just cracked it now? You didn't do a test?
No. I never. I always do it live. I just to taste it out. And it's going to be an interesting thing to get through it, but I'll power through.
Good luck.
Yeah, you have the good reaction faces like I had with my sea salt and lime disaster that I had last week.
Yeah, that shit's awful. So Vito, though, Jim just said you're in LA now, but originally, were you from New York?
I was from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Oh, shit.
What part?
Western Massachusetts, Amherst. Home to Amherst College and UMass Amherst and Hampshire College. Three
Nice.
famous colleges.
What
One
made you
one
do
Ivy
the trans?
League, one Bro League, and one Hippie League college. What made me come to LA?
Yeah.
I had some buddies who were moving out here for various reasons. We all got a place together, 4 of us. But I'd always wanted to do comedy in some respect, and I was like, well, that's probably a pretty good place to do it. I was living in Boston at the time, working some stupid office job, and doing a very bad job of it. I can't work in an office because I have to look at porn like a couple times an hour. Or at least, during the working day. So I'd be in my office and I'm like, I shouldn't be looking at this pornography, but there's so much of it. So I'm just not a traditional office guy, I guess. And I was like, well, I'll move to LA and figure something out. And now I get to work from home and look at as much pornography as I want.
There you go. But now you can't use someone else's data when you do it, though.
No, that's true. I got to pay for my own internet. I pay for that good internet, though.
Well, that's what you need to do to get the VR porn, right?
Dude, VR porn is like... I'm trying to figure out what to invest in, because I think VR porn is just going to take over the world.
Why even leave the house?
They're going to make it work. And once they make it work, it's going to be a $1 trillion industry.
Oh, yeah. Well, we all spend too much time on Twitter, so we've seen those bodysuits from Japan. They're working their way towards it.
I mean, it's going to have to be a doll with, like, those ping pong balls all over it, So you can track it and barcodes all over it. And you look at it in your bed and you're like, oh, that's disgusting. But then you put on the goggles and you're like, Cindy Crawford. I should pick a more recent sexy reference.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a bit
classic
dated.
90s. I've been watching BoJack Horseman. They make a Cindy Crawford joke. Who's hot these days? Who cares? I don't know any. Here's something about me. I'm bad at popular culture, celebrities, and everything else. People will be talking about these bands. I didn't know what Imagine Dragons was until
You're lucky.
like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I was aware that it was a band. And I guess now I know some of the songs I've heard on the radio. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard that song. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't follow any of this stuff.
So where does your pop culture references end? Is it 80s, 90s? Because that's the best marker for understanding. All right, like Jim and I, obviously same age. We're both like things up to a certain point, and you can tell when we all of a sudden just don't give a shit about the modern stuff. So where does it end for you?
I think all my pop culture references come not from engaging in the culture, but just from TV shows and movies I would watch. So, I probably only know, and, sitcoms lately have been terrible, but, I used to watch a lot of, 30 Rock and The Office. So it probably stops right about there, whatever they were talking about on those shows.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So wait, with the videos you
consider.
make for hating Star Wars, it's funny. As a kid, when you watched the original trilogy, and then obviously when the shit came out for the first three. Did you have an issue with every Star Wars you ever watched, or do you actually have fond memories of the like at least original trilogy?
So it was weird for me because like Star Wars was this thing. How old am I? When did? All right, so Phantom Menace came out in '99.
Right.
Yeah.
So before Phantom Menace, let's say '97. You know, I was a young man. Not a young man. I was in either elementary school or middle school. I don't remember. But Star Wars was still big. Like it had. I think that when did they re-release the special edition? That
97.
Was when it happened. So yeah, I think '97 Star Wars fever was hot, and all the kids loved it. You could not like Star Wars. Like it was just like every kid liked it. At least that's how it felt. Everybody in my class, they'd bring those. They had these books back then that had like, you know, pictures of all the spaceships or pictures of all the bounty hunters, and you'd be like, oh, let's look at the spaceship book. Oh, here's the interior of the Millennium Falcon. So I even had, as a kid, I hadn't even seen Star Wars yet. I had to pretend I had seen it for at least a year. I don't know why I didn't just tell my parents, hey, I need to see Star Wars. I was just a dumb kid. I'm like, yeah, I love that Star Wars. Love that Luke Vader, man. That guy, Vader Skywalker, all of that stuff. Love it. But then I did eventually see them, and I'm like, yeah, these are good, you know, and I started to, you know, I got some action figures and whatever else. I don't know if I was, like, die-hard in love with Star Wars. It was just kind of a thing. All the kids were into it. We all bought Star Wars cards and whatever else. It was there. I think I liked Pokemon more. I was a big Pokemon guy. Then Phantom Menace came out. I remember as a kid, I was just, like, confused. I was like, that was a confusing movie. That was hard to follow. Even now, I find that movie hard to follow. I'm like, I don't really know what's going on in that movie. And, yeah, it's just kind of, even then, even at, like, a young age, I remember being like, oh, this just looks stupid, though. Because, like, Star Wars was cool because it was all dirty and, like, gritty and, like, a war film, you know? Where you're like, oh, these ships have been through some crap. These guys live in the middle of nowhere, just kind of threw on some rags or a dumb vest, and that's all they got.
Right.
Yeah, I loved that kind of scrappy feeling to it. And even as a young kid, I was looking at Phantom Menace. I'm like, this is the cleanest looking stupid thing. It looks like a plasticky child's toy. So yeah, I never even saw Return of the Jedi. What's the last? Revenge of the Jedi?
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
I didn't even watch that until like the last 5 years because I just didn't care. I was like, who cares? Star Wars sucks now. I like the originals. Those are good. These new ones are bad. I don't want to watch that one. But then when they started doing these new ones, this new trilogy, I was like, hey, it looks good. Look at that trailer. I got a black guy stormtrooper. That's fun. That's new. And we got
Except in China.
a lady. Yeah. So they got everything, and I was like, maybe this will be good. They got a chrome stormtrooper. She's played by that lady from Game of Thrones. That'll be fun. And then I went and I saw it, and it sucked. And then I saw and I was like, it sucked, but I was like, well, at least it sets up for a second movie. Probably the second movie will be good. And the second movie was way worse than the first movie. And now that third movie came out, it's like, why'd you even make it? You should have just stopped and been like, we screwed it up. Sorry. It's the worst.
So what do you call it? Being the tangential Star Wars fan that you are, what do you think's worse, the prequels or the sequels?
They're worse in different ways. So I kind of have to hate the sequels more just because they're being produced in my era and having an effect on the modern discourse and affecting the way that stories are being told when they should not be told this horrible way. So, because the prequels, we'd already gotten, even at the time of the prequels, there was no argument. I mean, I guess there was a little bit, but most people just kind of accepted, yeah, those were bad. Let's not use those as a template for anything. But there was a certain number of people who were like, oh, The Last Jedi is a bold step forward for storytelling. Like, yeah, a bold step in manure. Like, this sucks. Don't make if you're going to make a story like this, there's times and places to do it, but don't do it in Star Wars. I don't want a dark, depressing Star Wars that isn't even dark and depressing in an interesting or coherent manner. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess, and these ones also should have had 15, 20 years of learning what went wrong with the last ones. Why don't we not make the same mistakes? Makes the exact same mistakes. You go, what was stupid about, you know what sucked? Remember how Boba Fett was like the coolest looking character and then they just kill him off right away? Make him look like a goof? They're like, hey, here's Captain Phasma, the coolest looking character. Let's send her down a trash compactor. I'm like, don't you understand how taking the coolest looking dude and dumping him in a Sarlacc pit completely ruins that mythos, completely ruins that badassery? I can no longer think that Boba Fett is... That's the funny thing, is everyone's like, oh, Boba Fett's such a jackass. I'm like, yeah, except Han Solo was blind, hit one button on his jetpack, and sent him in a Sarlacc pit. Boba Fett's a bitch, if you think about it. And,
but that's one of those things we still don't get. Jim and I have talked about. How the hell has he still maintained such love and appreciation? Is it strictly because he looked cool? Because, like you said, he didn't do shit, and those prequels... they certainly, it didn't help me appreciate him more, like seeing that. So I'm just like, I never understood, like, maybe it's because he was mysterious or cool looking. I don't know, but that never made sense to me. I was like, he didn't do anything, and he just got sent down there, like you said, by fucking blind Han Solo. So I don't get it.
Well, I think what happened is, and this might be just speculation, is that Boba Fett was heavily promoted in advance of Return of the Jedi. Boba Fett's first appearance was in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Shows up, he's in the cartoon. Oh, yeah, but they have a little Boba Fett cartoon. He doesn't get his ass handed to him in that one. He's kind of just some random guy and acts a little like a badass.
Looks like a 70s cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough around the edges.
They were pre-selling the action figure before the movie came out. So I think it's just kind of like they built it up in the audience's mind, the young audience. The young audience was like, yeah, Boba Fett, I love Boba Fett, even before the movie came out. And then the movie came out, and they're like, I still love that Boba Fett. And he does look cool, to be fair. I mean, looking cool is a big part of the stuff. So, I don't know. It's just the idea. And he showed up for a second in Empire.
Right.
I think it was just Empire got everybody hyped for him, though. So even though the actual appearance of him ended up being a letdown, I think back then you just had different standards for what you needed out of a badass character. You're like, he tried his best. That's badass enough for me. But these days, you kind of need to do a little more. You need to succeed on screen.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because with Phasma, like you talked about, like they promoted the shit out of her. And every movie, she did nothing. But it's the reverse where no one really cared about her. Everyone's just like, oh, that's it? Why do they keep putting her on the poster for all these movies coming after?
It was the same exact thing where I was watching people open action figures of her character like 6 months before the movie came out. They're like, yeah, Phasma. Phasma's my favorite character. And I'm like, you haven't even seen the fucking movie. Don't buy her action figure yet. You're going to get... That's been the weirdest thing with the toys is, like, I think about all those guys who buy those $500 Kylo Ren replica masks. Mm-hmm. You know, the, like, perfect mask. And the second movie, Snoke goes, why are you wearing that mask? You're a bitch for wearing that mask. And Kylo Ren goes, I hate my bitch mask. And he smashes it. I'm like, everybody who owns Kylo Ren's bitch mask must feel like an idiot now. Good thing he glues it back together in the most confusing through line of the whole sequels. Yeah. I hate this mask. Time to glue it back together. What? Make up your mind, kid. Why? Okay.
He welds it with like red metal. It's interesting.
Yeah, we never even learned like why he wants that. Man, the whole Vader aspect of those sequels is one of the most confusing parts. As in the first movie, he's like talking to Vader's helmet. He tells him, I'm going to finish what you started. What did Vader start? Vader turned back to the light side and killed the Emperor. Like, what was he working on that Kylo's like, yeah, gonna do that? We never find out, by the way, because they didn't write it in advance. Like, I don't know. He's going to do something. It doesn't matter.
What, you think a $100 million, billion-dollar franchise should be planned ahead with these 3 movies? Come on now.
Yeah. What a crazy idea that when you have Kylo Ren sit down and talk to Darth Vader's helmet about finishing what he started, that you would know what that means as opposed to, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it's not important.
Down the line.
Guys, you're just missing the point that he's so cool because he has a sword that has the little stubs come out like an old medieval sword.
Oh, yeah, dude. And it has a broken red kyber crystal so the blade is unstable. Like, so badass, dude. That's the worst part of having to make these Star Wars videos is I know way more about these movies than I should. And it makes me mad. It makes me mad that I know that Kylo Ren has a flawed red kyber crystal, which causes his blade to radiate dark energy or whatever. I don't even know.
To look like Dr.
I hate that I know the phrase kyber crystal. That has always made me mad.
Well, that's what's great is you had to learn that, as you said, to make these videos. So you had to push out some information in your head since you can only retain so much. So
Right.
you lost something very potentially valuable to learn that.
Memories of my grandmother are just gone now, replaced with the fact that each Jedi... Well, in the previous canon, kyber crystals came imbued with a color, but now in the new canon, Jedis can train to take a null kyber crystal and channel energy into it to choose the color of their lightsaber. So, very important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The worst
Jim,
part is, like, some of that stuff, I go, oh man, Star Wars could be cool. It's not like that's, you know, some of this is interesting in its own way. It just isn't cool because they've goofed it for so long.
And that's why I think everyone felt like the reason why it will always endure and go on is the background, the mythos, everything about it is cool. There's a crazy universe, and there are some really good games. There's some other things that, like, oh, look, you really explore some of the shit like you just said, and whether you like the movies or not, it's just the fans will always love it. So you throw them any kind of bone, even if it's a shitty one, and it's a movie, they're gonna eat it right up because it's just more of the thing they love.
Yeah.
And there's also the fear of missing out on that shit of, well, you don't want to be the one that didn't go see Star Wars and can't talk about it, so you can't not see it. And it's just, that's part of just seeing everything as it comes out anyway.
Yeah, everybody wants to be part of the conversation now.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm running into this problem where I'm on YouTube, and everybody on YouTube wants to talk about whatever the new thing is. So I'm like, oh, God, I got to buy that new video game I don't want to play because everybody's talking about it. Damn it.
Yeah, it doesn't
Can't
seem like you're loving Ghost of Tunisia.
Ghost of Tsushima sucks, and I would have never bought that game. I don't understand. People are like, oh, dude, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm like, this is just like Assassin's Creed, except almost worse than Assassin's Creed. It isn't good. I don't like Assassin's Creed to begin with, but I think it's better than this stupid samurai game. I don't get it.
So were you 100%, was there any part of that game that you saw that you thought, I might actually want this, or you're just like, I just need to get it?
I was like, I don't know, maybe it's a cool samurai thing. Like, I like Dark Souls. It was like, maybe it's kind of like Dark Souls. Maybe it's like, you get to explore, and the exploring is cool. And it's like, nah, not really. You just kind of walk around a big open world, and occasionally you climb a mountain. And then you get to this ridiculous part where you're trying to storm a village. And they're like, yeah, it's like real samurai combat, like realistic samurai combat. So there's these bees outside, and you can shoot the bees with the arrow. I'm like, why are there bees outside their camp? Why? And they're like, well, you can shoot that exploding barrel with your arrow. I'm like, okay, shut the fuck up. Okay, it's a video game. I get it. Don't pretend it's like a realistic or semi-realistic samurai universe with all this mythos and magic, and then you have exploding barrels and bees. It's ridiculous. I don't.
Were they at least murder hornets?
Yeah, there was something. I mean, I shot them with my arrow, and then they attacked two guys, and they're like, "Good shooting those bees, samurai." And I'm like, good. I don't like goofiness in my. I like goofiness when it knows it's goofy. I feel like the game doesn't realize how goofy it is to put an exploding barrel in the samurai game. I think that they think oh, this is fine. You know, let's not even acknowledge how stupid that is.
Yeah.
Let's not even acknowledge that it's stupid that there's a bunch of beehives on like different parts outside these ninja villages that you can shoot. I don't know, man.
So it turns into like a recurring enemy? Just more fucking beehives?
I believe that there's more bees, like, they didn't just do it this one time. I'm pretty sure that you go to other villages and they're like, maybe we could shoot those bees again. You're like, eh.
Oh, God.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. I think there's more bees.
So have you been playing anything for fun besides what you've been streaming on the channel, or is that just basically your main way of going through new games these days?
Well, I've been playing games while I work out in my little exercise bike, because I'm a chubbo. I've been...
Me too, brother.
I beat Final Fantasy VII. Good game. That's the remake I played. Good game. Story. I'm a little worried, but we'll see. Did you play that one?
Not yet.
Well, they do a thing, because you're like, oh, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII again. And then they go, are you? And you're like, I think so. And they're like, well, let's find out. So they kind of flip the script on you.
And wasn't it only like the first third of like the old game too?
Yeah, but it's expanded out to 60 hours. I mean,
Jesus.
But it's good. They give it everything more time to breathe. Characters are expanded on. You couldn't have made the whole game again. Everybody was like, why didn't they just make the whole game again? I'm like, because it would have bankrupted their company. Because it would have taken too long.
Right.
Like, you know, back then, an environment was you paint one 2D background and then set the characters on it. Now you want to make an environment, you got to model everything in that environment and you build a bunch of whatever the hell and systems and rolling around. You can't just make a 3-disc RPG these days without bankrupting yourself. You got to cut some corners. And one of the corners you can cut is being like, well, why don't we just split it up into chapters? And they did a very good job with that. And I think it's fine. I got no problem. Then again, I'm the kind of guy spending $60 on a video game doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people, because I'm a big dumb idiot who buys video games for too much money. Let's put it that way.
No, I'm that guy between the two of us.
Oh, and
at least you buy new relevant games. You're not buying games that are 30 years old on systems nobody plays, and you spend too much on a terrible game like Jim does.
Yeah, I definitely do that thing you just said.
Did you buy Hotel Mario for the CDI?
No, okay, I don't buy like legitimately bad games, but I buy games that other people would probably consider bad or not like important to play. Where I'm like, oh, I gotta buy a European copy of Facele for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. People are like, why? I'm like, well, it never got an American release. And they go, no, that's not the problem. The problem is, what on earth is that? Why do you need it? Just don't buy it. And I'm like, it's only like $200. It'll be fine. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, don't worry about these things. Or, you know, when you gotta get Psycho Pinball into Genesis because it never came out in North America. Or the LCD handheld of Splatterhouse. It only came out in Europe and Japan. And
yo, they had an LCD of Splatterhouse? That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm actually working on VO for it now because, yeah, it's like from '88 had no release and they come up on eBay like twice a year. So of course I was like, I gotta get this.
I love those stupid LCD games. I have a couple Game & Watches and stuff. I just bought Akira Psycho Ball for the Japanese PS2, the Akira pinball game.
I didn't even know
I have a Japanese PS2. Oh, yeah, dude, it's supposed to be good. I don't know how you get import PS2 games to run. I think you can run them on a US PS2. I don't know. I gotta figure it out. Anyway, I buy garbage. My house is full of garbage. I need to sell some of the garbage.
Well, you have a whole video game store in your house, too.
Yeah, I bought my buddy every video game he had. He had a game store, and the game store had to move to a smaller location. And he basically cut me in a deal which was terrible for him, but he did not care. I've, like, talked to him, like, do you regret making that deal? He's like, I just needed to move all that stuff, so I don't care. So I paid him $1,000, and now I'm sitting on, like, 30 Nintendo 64s and, like, 20 Super Nintendos and a bunch of Dreamcasts and more PS1s than anyone would ever want. And I have to figure out how to sell all this garbage, and I'm not very good at selling things quickly.
I was gonna say, have you just started resorting to like, hey, here's a gift, it's an N64.
Oh, you want a free N64? I offered my neighbors a Sega Genesis. I should make good on that. Can't sell a Sega Genesis for anything these days. Alright, that's the rule. Anybody wants a free Sega Genesis, if you're my friend, come to my house, you can have a Sega Genesis. You gotta come to my house. I don't want to go to the post office. I don't care.
Yeah. Gotta pick it up.
Yeah. So I love video games. I have too many of them. Maybe I should scale it down. What else was I playing? Oh, and I'm playing Batman Arkham Knight finally. I gotta finish that one.
Nice.
But I feel guilty that I buy all these old classic games and then I end up playing new recent stuff, and I'm like, it's just hard to... I appreciate those old games, but it can be hard to like get into them for a long stretch of time, you know?
Mm-hmm. You need to have a balance.
Do I want to sit down? Yeah. Do I want to sit down and play Turtles in Time for an hour? And it's like, kind of. I think those games you need a buddy. You need somebody to come over and really appreciate them with you.
Yeah, like that's. I don't know, when you were growing up, Vito, did you ever play a lot of RPGs? Because Jim and I, we appreciate the fact that some of these RPGs from like the Super NES and shit might have been amazing, but do we want to put 10, 12 hours into a RPG from that era? Or do we, like you said, do we want to play a new game? And it's very tough for us to go back and try and do that.
Well, some of those games, I mean, I'm somebody where the classic Dragon Quest formula holds up. And I actually appreciate the old Dragon Quest formula, which has kind of been abandoned by newer games. Where back in the day, like, leveling up and finding gold was like a meaningful action. Where you're like, I need 300 gold to buy this sword. Like, I gotta go kill stuff. Whereas now in these games, they're just like, Here's 1 billion gold. I don't care. You just went up 10 levels. It's like it's all been cheapened. It feels weird. But if you ever play that original Dragon Quest, it's a very well structured game, you know, and they know exactly how much game time it's going to take for you to get the magic armor. And then when you get the magic armor, now you can fight the giant king gorilla. I don't remember the monsters in the game. So there is stuff on Super Nintendo that I think I could play now and enjoy. Earthbound is good. Chrono Trigger is good. Final Fantasy 3 and Final Fantasy 2. I'm okay with those things, but then there are just RPGs that aren't nearly as good. Lufia 2 is good. Lufia 1 is bad. Breath of Fire would probably be pretty hard to play these days. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. It goes back and forth, but there are some of those games that were doing real good stuff. Chrono Trigger is probably the top. Did you ever play that one?
Yeah, and that's an example of if you've played it and already know what to expect and appreciate it from when you grew up, then I think you'll enjoy it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, any of these titles that you just mentioned that I didn't play, for me to go back and try and play it now, it's tough, man. It really is. Even if it's supposed to be the best game ever, that can also ruin the shit for me. Is where when somebody says, "Oh man," everyone and their mother says this is the best game on Super NES and it's this RPG, and then you go and try it out and you're like, your expectations are in the sky. You play it and you're like, really? This is the best? So that can fuck it up too.
I mean, you got to get in the headset of the classic RPG to be able to make that work. So if you didn't play any of them as a younger boy, then perhaps it will not click with you. I mean, the problem is that the reason RPGs were so popular at the time is that other games did not offer so-called RPG elements. Now every game is an RPG. Every game you're leveling up, you're finding new equipment, you got skill trees, whatever the fuck else. You know, that used to be the thing you only got in the RPG. So now you're spoiled. You're like, well, why do I play an RPG? I can play Batman. I get all that garbage and upgrading all my weaponry and everything else. That's enough of an RPG for me. So yeah, it is hard to go back to that, you know, walk in 4 directions, talk to people kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, I get in the same thing where some of those games I just get lost and kind of frustrated. I'm like, where do you want me to go? New games hold my hand much better than this. I don't want to talk to everybody in the town to try and figure out who has the pink crystal, which opens the cave where I can find the magic flower to cure the little girl. Just tell me where to go. I don't want to know. I mean, I guess I should play it with a player's guide or something.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah.
I'm that, like,
it's a generational thing.
I'm that trope that you just said, because what do you call it? I grew up with a Genesis, and then I had an N64, so fucking RPGs basically just blew by my childhood. Like, it's just a thing I didn't have. So, like, now I'm trying to go back to them, and I've tried to play, like, Final Fantasy 2 or 4 and 6, and I'm just like, I get, like, 6 hours in, I'm just bored, and I put it away. Chrono Trigger, I played for, like, an hour, I got out of the festival, got to the first forest, died, and I was like, I'll come back to this later. I think the only real
if you
classic
die early on, then you're just done, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You're done, you have to go back to the very start of the game, sit through the cutscenes again. I'm just like, I don't have time for this shit anymore. The only RPG from that era I ever beat was the first Final Fantasy of all games, because it has, like, no story and it's just all grinding. And for me, that's just, like, right up my alley.
Yeah, that first Final Fantasy is an interesting game. That game has so many bugs that just nobody knows about. Like, half the magic spells in the game just do not do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's super interesting to look up. They're like, this magic spell does absolutely nothing. And you're like, this is one of the most beloved games of all time, and it just has a broken magic spell in it. That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, there's still something there. You know, the games that are kind of still doing that are the modern Dragon Quests, are the closest thing you have to those formulas. And I think those modern Dragon Quests are pretty good. I really want to get the new one that's on Switch. Maybe try that out. And if you hate that, then you're going to hate all the other ones, because that's the most modern experience you're going to get from that kind of system there. Dragon Quest 11 or whatever it is.
But Jim,
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Vito.
Well, I was going to say, you know what a good compromise is? Have you ever played any of the Tales games?
No, never did.
So there's a game, probably the best one to start with is Tales of Vesperia. You have a Switch?
Yep.
Yeah, that recently just got remastered. And the cool thing about that is it's a mixture of, like, the old style you know, searching around, finding items, buying new equipment, whatever else. But it has what I think is more, a lot what people get hung up on is the turn-based combat. They're like, it's just a menu. Saying engaging, this isn't fun. In the Tales games, it's always been an action combat. So you're blocking, you're, you know, backstepping, you got different combos you can string together by pressing the right buttons. So the battles feel like a real arcade game. I think those Tales games are a good compromise between the old school Japanese RPG aesthetic and a bit more of us American-loving arcade action. I would try either that Tales of Vesperia or Tales of Symphonia. Both are fantastic. I think they're on Steam now.
Probably too, yeah. And actually, to go to one of our recurring little segments on this show, it's called Which is Better? So, Vito, since you're the RPG guy, what do you think's better, 2D or 3D RPGs?
Well, I mean, are we going to narrow that down to Japanese RPGs? Because 3D RPGs includes, like, Skyrim, right?
You can narrow it down however you
Witcher.
want. Very wide open.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there aren't... I mean, 2D Western RPGs would be like... what was it called? Ultima,
Shadowrun.
Yeah. And I honestly never played any of that stuff. I only ever played the Japanese stuff. So I would have a bad opinion on those things, because I also only played a bit of Skyrim, didn't play too much of Fallout. I suck at playing... I love Japanese games. I don't play a lot of Western games. So if we're going to compare 2D Japanese RPGs to 3D Japanese RPGs, if we're going to compare Chrono Trigger to Final Fantasy... Well, here's the thing. I like Final Fantasy VII a lot, but that game is not fully 3D. That game has a weird kind of 2.5D aesthetic where, you know, you can't rotate the camera. It has a fixed camera. You know what I'm saying?
The original 7, you mean?
Yeah, the original 7, where it puts you on a background.
Right.
I would say I enjoy the original 7 better than 7 Remake. That might be through rose-colored glasses. So... I would say the classic stuff, there's just something about it. I don't know if it's more experimental or just interesting. One of the best things about the old games is limitations breed creativity. When you have to work within the confines of an engine, of a graphic palette that only gives you access to, you know, maybe 16 colors, 200. I forget how many colors the NES had, like 50 at the most.
Yeah, and like 16 at one time, if that, maybe 12.
Yeah, on the screen at one time.
Yeah.
You come up with creative ideas. Me and a buddy, we played Contra Hardcore a couple years ago, and I was blown away at what they were able to do with the Sega Genesis. I was like, I didn't even know Sega Genesis could do this. I don't know if you ever played Gunstar Heroes. You ever play that game?
Great game.
My God, yeah, but you look at that now and you go, yeah, you're a great game. You look at it back then and you're like, how is the Sega Genesis doing this?
How is all this rotation happening?
Yeah, how is it spinning? How is this 3D? How are this many enemies on the screen? It's incredible. So I think there is something, just the older games, the idea that this limitation can breed these interesting ideas, where it almost feels like now, you know, we've settled into a routine where we know what people like, we know how to tickle the endorphin button way too well in a way that is almost disturbing. So yeah, I appreciate looking at the old stuff. I just find it more interesting in terms of studying it and what worked and what techniques have been abandoned, again, in favor of just tickling that stupid Skinner box button as hard as you can. So yeah, I'll say go with the old stuff, man. Do some, if you're out there and you're trying to figure out what to play, suck it up, bucko. Play that Chrono Trigger. You get back in there. You just got to remember to save more often, because they were really mean back then. You got to keep saving. Make save states. You have no excuse now, right?
Oh, yeah, of course
Just
not.
save state that thing every 2 seconds.
That's what I wound up doing. Dude, that's what I did to get through Kid Chameleon when we were doing our fucking video for that one.
I tried to beat Ninja Gaiden the normal way. It's impossible. I had to use save states. You ever played Ninja Gaiden?
Oh, yeah.
The original one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that game has a bug where if you die in the final level, normally it's supposed to send you back to the beginning of that level. But the bug sends you back 2 levels. And you're like, dude, it is so hard to get through those 2 levels to just get to the boss. And then you die in one hit, and they're like, yeah, go back 2 levels again. You're like, it's not doable. So I had to save state to beat Ninja Gaiden. I don't feel bad about it. What can you do?
No, not at all. Dude, what do you call it?
You ever played those 2D Castlevanias?
Oh, we love
I
Castlevania.
love them. Yeah.
There you go. That's the pinnacle of the 2D side-scrolling technology.
Oh yeah, yeah. Though, and like you said, you talk about hard. Just the gauntlet that is the final stages, especially in 1, that final run to get to Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Or the fact that
It's
3
nuts,
limits your continues. So it's not just you can just keep fucking trying. Like, you're gonna die and you're gonna lose, and then you just waste your whole day.
It's been a weird struggle to accept the save state. To be like, listen, man, that Mega Man boss, just play it a couple hundred times until you figure out its patterns. There's no value in you going back and doing that whole stage again. You don't need. You already know you can do that. Just fight this boss.
Oh, dude,
Interesting stuff.
when
Yeah, that's been one of the main topics Jim and I have talked about. Is like people that. It's funny how angry people get about people using save states, and I've always said, like, if you're just doing it for your personal use and you want to see what the game ending is, and you don't have, like you said, time to invest 100 tries of a boss of a game that's now 30 years old or whatever, like, why does everyone care so much? There's a difference if you say, hey, I'm setting a speedrun record or I'm setting something and you're using save states. Okay, then I get it. But for personal, you're just trying to beat it, who the fuck cares?
I mean, and it's also, it used to be back in the day, you would play the same game for 2 years straight because you didn't have any other games.
Exactly.
It's like you had an excuse. Yeah, but if you try to play it now, you ever play a game called Mighty Bomb Jack?
I've played it on Switch online.
Yeah. So the Switch, they do a nice thing where they're like, here, we're gonna put you right before the ending, and you just got to beat this one stage, and then you get to watch the ending. It took me like 100 tries to beat that one stage. It's insane.
Oh, dude.
And you're like, who ever beat this normally? There's no way.
Speaking of
The
bugs,
AI is like completely random. Go ahead.
dude. Speaking of bugs, fucking Hotel Mario. When I made us do a video on that, there's a level select code. It's like secret, but you find it, you put it in. For the last level, the bug in the game is it puts you to the Bowser fight, so you don't have to go through the entire like 15 levels beforehand. Thank God.
Yeah.
I spent 4 straight hours trying to beat that one goddamn boss fight. It was just die
Jesus
after
Christ.
until I basically had muscle memory of every like pixel. That's the only way I got through that shit.
Yeah, dude.
And that's
I mean,
not
like
fun.
those games are just unreasonable. I mean, as a kid, yeah, I beat Mega Man 0. I forget how. I don't want to do that again. I mean, I'll just play some save states in there. I like Mega Man 0. I think I beat the first 2 of them. It's just man, those bosses, they're real jerks.
It's a grind, and like you said, developers, I think part of it was they're coming off the idea of arcades, of retrying. You know you're not going to have this game, so a cheap way to make a game replayable is to make it difficult. Because if they made the game too easy and you're done in 2 hours, people are going to be like, I spent how much money on this, even if it is a great game. So just up the difficulty, make the bosses goddamn ridiculous, and there's your replayability right there.
I actually like, though, that now I'm tired of the games being like 60 hours long. It's unnecessary to me. Some games, sure. But it seems everybody's like, why don't we make, I want a 60-hour quest. I demand it for my $60. And I go, yeah, but then you realize the game is just artificially stretched out with the most boring-ass fetch quests and, like, stupid garbage everywhere. I want more tight 10, 15-hour games.
Yes.
And the people who complain, like, oh, well, yeah, but I'm paying $60. I'm like, dude, motherfucker, you go to the movies, it's like $20 after you buy your popcorn and your soda. Not that you can go to the movies anymore, but still, even if you rent a movie on the internet, it's like $5 for 2 hours?
Yeah.
Expand that out. That's, I don't want to do math, but you know what I'm saying. I think it would be $60 for 12 hours of entertainment.
And half the games
That's reasonable to me.
Half the games are half price after like 2 months anyway, so no one's telling you have to buy it at launch. You can wait a little bit. And there's your
I only buy games at launch again because I stream them, but if I wasn't, there's no point.
right.
So Vito, 3 games I've played recently that are all within that time frame you're talking about, and I love the stories. The Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. I mean, Resident Evil 3 remake was super short. But then the other one that surprised me was the Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, I still need to play that one. I've heard very good things.
You can easily 7 hours if you're taking your time.
Yeah.
And great story. It's straightforward, but it throws unique elements of like you have to. It actually says like you have to use headphones when playing this game because it's all about audio cues and things of that nature. So it was one of those games I was so happy. Like I didn't even pay full price, but I had more fun getting a full experience for that time. Will I go back to it? Maybe in many years, but I'm not grinding out pointless, stupid shit to play it.
Yeah. I like a tight action game, straight on through. Did you ever play Metal Gear Rising?
I haven't gotten to it yet. I found it like Five Below, and I was like, well, I'm not going to turn down a new game for $5. But
You mother bastard. Look. That game, my God, it's ridiculous. You just cut stuff with a sword. You got a robot dog. Have you ever seen the final boss battle?
Isn't it
Senator Armstrong, who is a meme among memes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Senator Armstrong, who years before Trump began running to president, gives a big speech about we're gonna make America great again. Oh my God! And
so that's where you got it from.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and Senator Armstrong is much more honest than Trump has ever been. He's like, we're gonna make a war economy. Well, we gotta get back in a war. That's how we make money in this country. We're gonna make America great again. And you're like, oh, this guy's saying what's on everybody's mind. He's saying out loud what everybody else in Congress does not want to say.
They're all sitting there doing the cartoon like, yeah, kind of thing.
It's pretty fantastic, man. I like that game a lot. And again, it's quick, it's short, it's freaking idiotic the whole way through. You're just killing as much things as you can, but it feels good. I mean, I'm this guy where I have this working theory where I don't like these games that try to get too serious, that don't acknowledge how stupid it is to be a video game in some ways. You have to not even that you have to acknowledge that it's stupid, but you have to acknowledge the abstractions within the medium.
So Last of Us.
Your character dies 100 times. If you were watching a movie and the main character died 100 times, you'd be real confused. You'd be like, this is odd.
You mean like Kenny in South Park?
Yeah, except, never, like Kenny in South Park, never acknowledging that the character just died. It's like, he's just back now. And you're like, does he have like a special power? Or, just ignore it. Don't think about it. It was an alternate reality. So games have that weirdness in them that you got to come to terms with. And I think when you try to make something so serious, all of a sudden the player is like, all right, this is a super serious game. Why am I eating 100 pills to learn how to build arrows? Like, that does not fit into this supposedly realistic universe you have constructed for me.
Do you ever play the Saints Row games?
I haven't, but I'm aware of what they do, and I think that is a good idea.
That is right up your alley, because as you said, silliness, over the top, very self-aware.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about having a weapon called the Penetrator that literally is... It launches people after you shove it up their ass, and it launches them like 100 feet in the air, and it's just beyond ridiculous.
And Grand Theft Auto strikes a pretty good satirical balance, where at times it does take itself seriously, but you're always able to suspend your disbelief because it is telling you, listen, this isn't a real crime drama. This is a stylized fantasy, like a Tarantino film, where there's always this layer of fantasy to it. And I think games need to basically have that kind of Tarantino-esque layer where it's going, just sit back, enjoy the ride. Don't try to take these people as real people. These are avatars for you to consider the thoughts and themes here. And I'm not saying that they have to be goofy or humorous, just self-aware. And some of these games do not seem self-aware.
No, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, as Jim pointed out, Last of Us.
Ghost of Tsushima sucks.
I was going to say, all right. I was like, how are we going to transition back into this? Nothing but professional. So, all right, we're back. Bri, what did you think of your beer so far? I know you had a bad first impression.
So, I'm done it. The sourness, you get used to it really quick, I'll say that. And it actually becomes quite easy to drink. I don't know if I mentioned, there is no percentage that I'm seeing on here, but if I had to guess, this is in the 5 or 6% range. It's fine. It's not you know, if you're a fan of sour beers, you may like it, but it's not one of the best sour beers I've ever had. So I'm actually moving on to the DeClaw Brewing Company's Funk Blueberry Citrus Wheat. So it's a wheat beer. Wheat beers in general are pretty easy going down. And with the blueberry citrus, it's a very, very, very good summer beer. Like, if you're just outside, it's hot as shit, this is a perfect one for you to try.
All right, cool. Yeah, mine didn't have the alcohol on it either. So, yeah, at first the chili peppers and all the hot stuff came through a lot with the initial mouthfeel, but kind of goes away, and then it's just kind of a normal stout by the time you're halfway through it. But it was good. So if you want to have something different for that initial mouthfeel kind of cocoa taste, then it's not a bad one to go for. And now I'm going with the virtual collab Cellar Brawl Foggy DIPA with Strata, Idaho, and Citra. 8%. So, and a very colorful looking can over here.
Interesting choices there, Jim.
Hey, it came from my subscription box that my wife got me, so I'm a slave to its selection.
So, Jim, what do we got? What do we got on Patreon?
Yes, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every Power Hour podcast. So, first up, from G to the next level. Let's say you guys have the green light and the budget to make an FMV game based on anything you want. What would your game be about? Cheers.
FMV. I'll let you guys go first with this one.
I mean, if you handed me that budget, I don't think I'd use it to make an FMP game. I'd be like, let's not spend money on that. But I guess a gun's to my head. I can make any FMV game. Oh my God. I don't know. I'd make some sort of. I would want to make a really weird, crazy Twin Peaks kind of thing. I think that's the only genre I think would work for that.
It always seems to be the suspense that works out the best anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're making something spooky and weird and having guys talk to you and whatever else. I think you just got to get real weird with it. So, make it like some Twin Peaks detective story, but everybody you talk to scares the shit out of you.
All right, that works. So Twin Peaks meets Twitch mods. That's what you got to go for. That fucking game.
Jim, they're already making the perfect FMV game in Gamer Girl. What are you talking about?
Oh, I know. I already got it pre-ordered through limited run, buying 7 copies.
But no, I think Vito's. I mean, FMV in general, it really only makes sense. Do something suspenseful. Do something horror related. So if I'm going off that same type of thought, then I would like to see FMVs for movies that always wanted to get sequels but never did, or shows that you want to see something expanded. So kind of stealing Vito's idea, I would go with something off the idea of like True Detective or something like that. You know, a legit crime drama that has some weird kind of chiller-esque attributes to it, like, or Seven or something to that nature.
Okay, I want to expand on my idea. Have you ever seen the video where it's do you remember there's an FMV game called Sewer Shark?
Yes.
All right, well, did you ever see the Alex Jones in Sewer Shark?
No.
Where
no.
Well, there's just this classic video of like Alex Jones next to a raging fire saying insane things, where he's like, "You're gonna have to be hard. You got to get hard if you're gonna be in there." And he's like getting you hyped up for your Sewer Shark adventure. But I just want I want to make one where like you're in charge of an Alex Jones style TV program, but maybe he does stumble across the truth. So you constantly got to like find a way to like keep him on the air without government agents or whoever else just murdering him in his sleep.
So the
and
way
you got to keep the ratings up.
So the way he called Epstein Island, but in the meantime he also threw in Turn to Frogs Gay and shit like that. Throw out 1,000 crazy shits, but put that one nugget of truth in there.
Occasionally, you got to sneak some real stuff in there, and you got to figure out how to edit the show. Yeah. Maybe
do a cross between editing his show and doing like Five Nights at Freddy's. So when they come to get him, you got to stop them.
It would be like Kid and Play Make My Video for the Sega Saturn, where you have all the video clips and you have to figure out how to arrange them into a show that not only gets the truth out, but does not arouse suspicion.
God, this
Alex Jones, Make My Video. Shit, I'm gonna make that into a T-shirt. That rules.
Please do.
I think you got a moneymaker on your hands there.
I'd play that.
All right, I think mine would be... Now, I know the answer is going to be no, but has anyone played War Games on the ColecoVision?
No, Jim.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo. But, so, the main point of that is you flip between, like, 6 different screens trying to blow up, like, different missiles coming down or enemy ships to try and prevent, nuclear war between the entire planet. So, it's almost, like, kind of think like fucking Five Nights at Freddy's, where you're going between different screens and trying to just, stop yourself from being blowed up too much. So, I would just want to see a prettier version of that. And I think that would work well with FMV.
So you mean you're basing it off the movie, which is probably what the game was based off of?
Well, vaguely, yes. But just play the game. It's a good game, goddammit.
With Matthew Broderick?
Yeah, it's better than the movie. The game is way better than the movie. It's a game that no one played because it's on a dead console from 1983.
It's on the Coleco, like the home console?
Yep.
Or the computer? Okay.
The home console. Nah, not the Atom. I'm not that bad. I'm pretty bad, but even I'm not that bad.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
All right, so what else?
From Game Whisperer Dean. What beer goes down well when playing horror games?
Stouts, for sure. Stouts and porters. They lend themselves to being, a beer that you can drink in small doses, and as it warms up, it actually gets better. So my thought is when you're playing a horror game, you're probably taking your time, you're really focused on the game, and you're probably going to let your beer sit out for a while. So you want something like the flavors start getting a little better as it goes on, and the kind of dark chocolate and coffee flavors of those will help complement your style of game.
Yeah, I'll go through that. You're way more the horror guy than any of us, so you would be the one to know. Unless, Vito, you have anything for that?
No.
Perfect. Next up, from Gamer Astral, DBPG OnlyFans when? Brian?
What?
Jim, you're going to be doing the truffle shuffle at some point for all the things you fuck up. So you might as well create an OnlyFans and do it with your food porn fetish. Come on.
At least I'll get some money out of it. Or if Owen Benjamin and Sargon's crazy fan bases take down Patreon, which, they're not going to do. But in case of
I don't know, man. I'm kind of worried about it.
I mean, they're already dinging them right off the bat for what is it, close to $1 million just with Owen Benjamin's crazy fans?
Yeah. I'm hoping that, like, Owen Benjamin or Sargon step in and they're like, listen, man, we'll make you a deal. Put me back on the platform or you lose $1 million.
Yeah, and this all goes away.
That seems fair. Yeah. Seems like a fair trade for them.
Yeah, like a week of bad press for still having a platform. I think it might be the way to go.
Jim, I think our OnlyFans should be you reviewing other people's OnlyFans.
I could do that. I think I'm ripping off Andy Worski at that point, but this I could do.
Does Andy review OnlyFans?
He was doing that before his YouTube channel got yeeted. I think he's still doing it on, on D-Live when he's not doing his normal show. But
Is that what got him banned?
I think just being him in general probably got him banned, but I think...
Yeah, I didn't know if, like, something pushed it over the line.
I don't think it was anything specific. I think it was just, like, cumulative 12 years of Andy Worski content. But...
Yeah, some of those guys are on the edge.
Yeah, especially him. He doesn't hold back, but... Yeah, I think he was doing that as a gimmick on D-Live, I think. So,
all right.
Yeah, this is something I can do. But yeah, if Patreon goes down, then we'll just move all the Patreon shit over to OnlyFans. Screw Subscribestar. Who has the time?
Yeah, maybe OnlyFans should just, embrace the alternate whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't have to just be for porn. It can easily
why not?
be transitioned. Yep.
It's almost a way, what is it, random people were uploading just like their actual content who got kicked off everything else to Pornhub. Got nowhere else to go. Might as well put it up there.
That rules.
And last up...
It's all about adaptability, Jim.
Exactly. And last up, from Alex Perez. What are your favorite non-racing sports games? And then your favorite racing games.
Wait, non-racing sports games?
Yeah.
And then sports games? Isn't that the same question twice?
Then favorite racing games. Did I say sports twice?
Oh, and then favorite race. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
All right, so non-racing sports. I think you and I have talked about this, at least for me. I go with the classics: Tecmo Super Bowl, NBA Jam, and probably for racing, I'll go Gran Turismo 2 and Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit.
Yeah, for non-racing, I'd probably do like Ready to Rumble 1, like Hot Shots Golf 3, the more like, and Blades of Steel, obviously he's up there. But I also really like the late 2000s era of like NHL games and MLB The Show. Like they're all, more simulation-y, but they're pretty much perfect at that point before EA got way too hard with paywalling content. So that's where I'd stop there. And racing games, I always like. I'm going to leave kart racers out of it, so I'll put in like Mario Andretti's racing on the Genesis just because I have so much nostalgia for that game. God damn right I am.
Fuck, Jim.
And like I grew up with like NASCAR '99 on the N64. It's fine. It's a fine racer. Like I can't like the Burnout games are fun. I'll say throw any of the good Burnouts in there and I'll be fine with that because like Gran Turismo always bored this shit out of me. You always have to play as like a bad car for 3 hours before you can buy something decently fun to play. And I never had the patience for that.
Well, you usually have to do that when you're no good at the game.
Yeah. Well, when you're topping off at 62 miles an hour, oh man, this is fun.
Is it cheating if I say Ready to Rumble boxing?
I just did,
Nope.
so please do.
Oh, wait, did you?
Yeah.
I guess I missed that.
It's all good. I talk fast.
Yeah, that's just a fun thing. It's more like a fighting game than anything, though. And for racing, I'm thinking about like Ridge Racer. It's like Ridge Racer 4 was pretty good.
Yep.
R4.
Yeah.
Just drifting. Drifting feels good.
Throws in the original game for shits and giggles with better control.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, but good question, Alex. I mean, I used to actually be all about racing games and Need for Speed, Underground, and all those. I love them all. I've played some of the new Forzas, but as Jim and I have said many times, problem is I don't have endless hours to dump into just one game anymore, and those games really require that, and I appreciate how friggin' amazing they look and the level of detail, but it's just, yeah, I'm never going to get into them like I used to.
But yeah, and on that rounds up all the Patreon questions we got this week.
Thank you, guys. We truly appreciate everyone who supports us and anyone who has been giving us money towards this stuff. We can't thank you enough, and we're still working out some details. But we're going to be doing a slight adjustment to the tiers, so that way if you're one of the higher tiers, you may be getting one of our shirts coming to you soon. We'll be releasing details on that shortly.
Buy our merch for the love of God. We need the help.
Damn it, Jim. Don't say
What?
like that.
I'm not shameless.
Damn it. All right. So what do we got next, Jimbo?
You know what? Next up ties into the channel because Vito, besides being a pretty successful YouTuber, also he's a game maker. And ages ago, he sent us his card game called Enemy Weapon, which I'm holding up right now. I wound up doing a video game on it, or a video game. The beers are kicking in.
Nice.
I wound up doing a video on it that he actually helped get some actual views.
Yeah, I
cool
forget where I
game.
posted it. I mean, I put it on the store page for it, so probably people who check out the store page. I think your review is like the top video because it actually looks not like garbage.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, thank you for the game, man. Is this? Do you see yourself making more of those, or was it like what was the process of doing that? Like when did you decide? All right, I want to make something like this.
I don't know. Like I was just sitting around, like, and I had this weird idea. It's actually kind of based on a podcast I used to do with this dude. Have you ever heard of Tim Rogers? He was working at Kotaku for a while.
I've heard of the name.
You can say no. Me, him, and this kid Alex, we used to do this podcast called Violence Island, and it was an island where random people would show up who were suggested by the fans, and they would get placed in a tiered tournament. We had to decide who would win in various battles. But then we eventually realized the show didn't work because anytime any superhero character showed up, we're like, well, I think Superman would beat Seinfeld. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. So then we tried to make it more balanced. We invented a thing called the Armory, which was if we thought if the match was like too unreasonable, we'd be like, all right, well, let's go to the Armory for Seinfeld. And then those were also fans submitted like magical artifacts. We're like, all right, well, now it's Seinfeld with Thor's hammer. So I guess maybe he's got a fighting chance. So it came down to me, and I was like, I kind of want to make like a card game that's kind of just like these fights where you have, this armory that's full of random items and powers. And so what it turned into was that I just started, there was 2 types of cards: enemies, which were just random things to fight, and weapons, which were, random items and powers and whatever else. And then I realized you can get real loose with the idea of a weapon, where it can be like a bunch of bestiality pornography, which is illegal bestiality pornography. And you can be like, well, I planted on the enemy, and then he gets arrested for having too much horse porn. And then I was like, well, the enemies can also be kind of abstract, like, a kid who really wants to have sex with your mom, and if you can't find a way to impress him and his skateboarding friends, he's definitely going to bang your mom. So I just kind of was like, this is stupid, let's go with it. And so I just started writing all these cards and like posting them on my Twitter, and people were like, this is pretty funny, what is this? Like, I don't know, a really stupid idea I had, but let's see if we can make it happen. I did a Kickstarter. We hit the $10,000 goal, and I put out a card game. So it's kind of like a Cards Against Humanity. You have 2 types of cards, and everybody has to argue over who has the best idea of how to destroy the enemy. But I think it's got more creativity because it's a storytelling game. You can't just fill in a blank. You have to actually look at whatever weapon you have and be like, okay, my weapon is an abortion doctor. There's got to be some way I can use this to help me out here. Just weird stuff like that. So, yeah, it's called Enemy Weapon. You can go to enemyweapon.com if you want to check out more of it. But it's pretty cool. I'd like to make, like, expansions and stuff if it ever... there's this crazy thing you guys might have heard of. It's called COVID-19. It's this new thing.
Oh, really? Do tell.
And, yeah, well, it's
Is that
this,
a new game?
It's this... Oh, no. It's this virus, actually, which has managed to cancel every board game convention in the country, preventing aspiring entrepreneurs like myself from pitching their wares to potential publishers. So, also preventing people from wanting to play a board game because you are not allowed to have people in your house. So, that's good for me. I was like, this year, I'm going to hit all those conventions, going to get this in the hands of a publisher. Now I'm like, just never try. Never put any effort in anything because it all results in garbage.
Because life will find a way to fuck you.
Yeah, no matter what. You'd think making a board game would be the simplest thing in the world, but no. A worldwide virus will destroy your dreams in an instant. I mean, there still might be a publisher who might be interested. I'm working on a little sales packet. Because, I just printed it myself, which is fun, but I don't have that much of a marketing arm. I can't really get it into stores. It would be much easier to go to one of the people who professionally prints this thing and get them on board for the Enemy Weapon experience.
So let me ask you, knowing that with COVID and everything that's happened, and I imagine a lot of board games and people, publishers themselves, even people going to brick and mortar stores or whatever, I feel like that's going by the wayside more and more. So have you at least seen people, maybe because they're staying in, have they been doing orders and you just do it online as best you can? Has that helped you at all in that respect? Or is it really still just a complete detriment at this point?
I mean, I'm not good at marketing, so whenever I sell a copy, I'm very surprised and I don't know what I did correctly. It's like when I get an order on my website, I'm like, did this guy get tricked into this? What did I do? Was this a podcast appearance I did? A lot of it is like doing podcasts, and I'll mention the game, and then usually afterwards I'll get a couple sales, which is nice. So, I mean, it sells here and there. I can't say that sales have gone up or down, because, again, it's not like sales were ever astronomical to begin with. If I sell 10 copies in a month, I'm like, 10 copies! 10 copies! Daddy's buying a steak dinner tonight, baby. I mean, it was a small cottage release to a dedicated fan base, and God bless their hearts. And I would like to see if there's a way to make it a bigger thing, but right now I'm happy. And here's how I look at Kickstarter for anyone who's trying to do a Kickstarter. I think your first Kickstarter is a proof of you as a human being who is not a complete fuck-up. As you go, look, I'm going to do a Kickstarter. It's my first one, which means you should not trust me with your money whatsoever. Because I don't know. I think it feels like half the first-time Kickstarters guy goes, it's going to be a 60-hour RPG. I'm going to make it myself in my basement in 6 months.
Oh, God.
And you're like,
Yep.
yeah, all right, good luck, buddy. But this was a proof of concept to go, look, Vito's not a complete screw-up. He can get something out the door. So now I hopefully can go ahead and kickstart a bigger project. And I have a couple different projects I've been working on. And hopefully people will see that I am somebody who will not just take your money and run. I am dedicated to getting you a quality product. And I do think it is a quality product. You can speak to the testament of that printing quality.
Oh, no, it's actually, I was, like, just the matte finish on the box itself, the cards themselves, very nice. Like, no, it's...
You gotta
like,
love that box, baby. That matte finish. Ooh.
It was gorgeous.
Daddy
I mean,
paid extra for the matte.
We've been sent some things, and it's like, okay, this is nice, but this one here, I was like, ooh, this feels legit right here. Vito delivers. What can I say?
Not bad. Vito gets it done. You can always believe in Vito.
So let me ask you, Vito, I know you said you have other projects going on, but let's say next year comes, you get the conventions, you can get publishers. The nice thing, and I don't know if this has always been a thing with board games, I equate it to almost like, you know, after game releases or expansion packs. For a game like that, it's perfect because you can always just keep updating it with more, you know, topical subjects as your weapons, as your enemies. So it's like, you know, they could be whatever the price point is, but you could basically say, here's a new card pack to go along with the game. So that way you don't have to release a new version of the game every time. Is that something you've given any thought to?
Yeah, I mean, when I started designing it, I was like, well, maybe my Kickstarter will really take off and I should have some expansions ready. I got to put the cart before the horse. But, I mean, the idea would be that you can do expansions that would be themed. So you would have Enemy Gamer, Enemy Hero, which would be all superhero themed. Right now there's a 10-card expansion pack called Enemy Hitler that comes with every copy of the game, and all the cards are kind of Hitler, World War II themed cards. You get Captain America, who famously does not like Nazis. Stuff like that. So just like little theme packs. I mean, again, it would be the kind of thing where if this game could get like a wide release, I don't think it makes sense to make expansion packs for the 500 people who have the game, diminishing returns at that point. But I think if there was, yeah, again, like I mean, Cards Against Humanity milked that thing forever, and that game's made by a rapist, so why not get Enemy Weapon? Then you don't got to feel bad every time you play it.
Clear
I have no way to prove the allegations.
Perfect game.
Yeah, I can't prove the allegations against Max Temkin, but I'll tell you this: no one's ever called Vito Gesualdi a rapist.
It's goddamn
I ain't
right.
got the time for raping. Not in my blood. So, if you would like a game that is funny and not made by a rapist, check out enemyweapon.com.
And I will
not
say
made
this.
by a rapist, as far as you know. You can never know in today's society, right?
Look, Vito,
You
people
always
call you,
think you would. Yeah.
they call you
We
a
never
lot of
thought
things.
Cosby would be one, but now we can't trust anybody.
They call you a lot of things on Twitter. You are a master of bringing heat onto yourself. Whether it's
Yeah, I got to stop that.
So whether it's holding up the bathwater, which is how I found you and a lot of people found you, or roaches in your PS4 or shit like that, like, dude, you can just post anything and people seem to hate you, but no one says rapist. I'll give you that.
Right. They want to.
Wait.
I mean, people would love, some of my enemies would love to have some dirt on me, but I'm a squeaky clean gentleman. I have no time for any. I just hang out with my cats in my house and play Nintendo games. I'm the most boring, controversial personality. All these other controversial people do something with their time. I'm like, I spent all day playing Magic cards on the internet. I'm the bad boy of Twitter. Can't stop me. Yeah. So, yeah. I got to stop fighting on Twitter. It's definitely bad for me. But the problem is I'm a bad man on Twitter, and then I get more followers, so I'm being rewarded for my bad behavior.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was my question. So it encourages it. I feel like you didn't set out, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like you didn't set out to be any type of troll or anything like that. But it seems like once the wheels are in motion, I feel like you sit back and you just kind of laugh about some of the shit people send you. And you're just kind of like, well, I'm just going to keep feeding this shit because it's just, why not? It's hilarious.
I've always dealt with I don't know, just people not getting what I am, you know? People not getting my humor has always been It was a thing that used to infuriate me, where I'm like, come on, guys, it's a joke. You get the joke, right? But now, people not getting the joke, I embrace it. I'm like, this is great. They don't get it. That's hilarious. It almost makes it better half the time. So, like, that's the weird thing is, like, on Twitter, it seems like I'm a complete jerk-off. And then I think if you talk to me, you're like, I don't know, he seems like a pretty reasonable guy. Doesn't seem like a total jerk. But on Twitter, here's the problem with the internet. There's no way to communicate tone. We have these emojis that we're supposed to use where it goes, no, you can tell I'm joking because I use the winky face emojis. I don't know about you, all the emojis feel mocking to me. Anytime someone uses an emoji, I'm angry. Like, how dare you laugh at me?
It's talking down to you.
Yeah, they don't establish tone. And my tone does not work on the internet. I'm a very dry, sarcastic type person. I have a very sardonic sense of humor. When I post on Twitter, all of you are idiots and I hate you. It doesn't sound as funny as it sounds right now. It sounds like I'm mad and I actually hate you. I don't. It's just funny to claim, you know. So Twitter's a weird beast, and maybe I don't know, but people seem to like the garbage I post, and some people maybe get the joke. It's just hard to communicate the joke sometimes. It's hard to
and I feel like half the people on Twitter are sitting there like they want to find a reason to not get the joke and to get offended. And it's like they're looking for like you're the excuse. Like today, I need something to be pissed off about. What did Vito write? Oh, well, fuck him. Like that is
Vito's
the gist
a bad,
of some
bad
people.
man.
Yeah. They need the enemy. Today, their life sucks, so Vito, you're the enemy today, and what you wrote is really pissing me off, and I'm going to let all 23 followers I have know.
Well, that's why I'm an idiot, though, because I, like, search for a name, and I find, like, these people with 100 followers, and they're going, I hate that Vito guy. And then all of a sudden, I'll respond to him, and I'm like, what did I do to you? I didn't do nothing to you. And they don't expect me to say anything to them. I'm like, hey, I'm a good guy. We got no problem here. Here's the thing is, like, everybody has these ideas of how you're supposed to use social media. You know, like, there's these weird unspoken rules about, like, conduct and, you know, how you say things. And I'll just, like, change my name to Hot Dog Monster for a day. And people are like, why? What does that accomplish? I'm like, I don't know. Today I'm the Hot Dog Monster. Deal with it. Like, and it's so weird. And then, like, a bunch of people unfollow me because they're like, I don't remember following the Hot Dog Monster. This sucks. And, like, it's just a stupid game to me. Like, some days I'll just be like, I want to get, like, 100 people to unsubscribe today. Like, that's my goal. Because I don't care. If you care, you lose at the internet, right? Like, that's the moment you lose, is when you go, I'm the most important and everyone needs to follow my Twitter. It's a stupid game about numbers going up. Stop treating it like your follower count means anything. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to have more people watch my Star Wars video than watched it yesterday. But at a certain point, you got to be like, man, at some point, this is all going to crash and burn. They're going to find some reason to cancel me because all nuance has been destroyed in this society. They'll just take something out of context and make it work. My new thing is just live every day like you're canceled. I'm already canceled in my mind. Somebody already did it. I don't know what they did it for, but it's going to happen. So fuck it. I'm already dead. I'm already dead to society, and everybody hates me, I assume. So just embrace it and love it, and make it part of yourself. Act like you have to. In today's society, well, like, how can you live? I don't know how people can live this nightmare in these high-profile situations where, you know, they're a public figure, and every single thing they tweet or say, they're on the razor's edge, worrying if it's going to be misinterpreted as them hating trans people or them hating black people, and they're like, I just wanted a Pop-Tart. I didn't realize certain Pop-Tart flavors were offensive. I'm very sorry. I did not know the pink Pop-Tart was slang for... You can get in trouble for anything. I just can't live my life like that, so I just live my life in the exact opposite, where I go, I'll eat any fucking Pop-Tart I want. Deal with it, asshole. I don't care. It's my Pop-Tart. So, this is the worst analogy, by the way. But, yeah, I'm an idiot. I have an idiotic Twitter feed. My YouTube is semi-idiotic. I don't know, man. I just can't live life the way these people are living their life, where they're on the edge of their seat every moment. Now, I'm lucky that I'm able to make a living. I don't have to worry about somebody. I mean, there's always that fear in the back of your mind is that someone's really going to lead a campaign to try and take all your money away. You know, that's the great fear. Somebody comes down and tries to get your Patreon canceled. You know, get credit card companies to refuse to do business with you. You know, that's the only horror. But I mean, how long can you live in the fear of that? I don't know. It's
I was
hard.
gonna say, you don't strike me as somebody like. I feel like you're not like tampering back or you know, pulling back content with that concern in mind. Like, I feel like you watch some people, and you see it very commonly with video game reviewers who clearly they're getting sent games, and every game sent to them, oh, this is a 10. This is the most amazing game. They're like, God forbid you say anything negative.
Yeah.
But you see that a lot once people get sponsors, once they get the money tied to it, and I fully get it, man. If this is how you make your living, and you gotta, like, you want to maintain that, you gotta play nice in the sandbox. But like I said, from what I've seen about you, you don't. I mean, and unless you're doing it very well, like, you don't seem to, like, worry quite as much about that. But have you ever made a video, done a tweet or something, and before you hit click it said, oh, fuck, I probably shouldn't do this?
Well, I engage in what I think is a constant campaign of psychological terror on Twitter where nobody understands my true intentions or what is going on at any point in time. I have so many people, and they're like, I have no idea who you are politically. I have no idea what you believe in. And you confuse me every day, but there's something about it I like. And I go, there you go. That's what you want. That way, any political position, I can go, I don't actually believe that. Don't even worry about it. So, there are parts of me that has, you know, I might have a radical political opinion where I go, if I say this, everyone's just going to get mad, so I'm not going to say it. You know, just something that's so far out there because am I the most stable individual in the world? No. Do I ideas strike in my head where I'm like, what if we just cut all the rich people into steaks for the poor people? That might work. You know, people don't want to hear that. They don't like that idea, and I get it. So, yeah, I temper it back. I mean, I tell people, because I have people, and they're the worst people. They go, Vito, you know, now's the time. You need to red pill your audience. You got to uncover the hidden truths. And I go, look, there's two ways to go about doing that, because I do believe maybe you have, if you are in a position of speaking to people, that you can attempt to educate them and make them into better people. Not in a preachy way, but in a way that gives them your thoughts and ideas on certain things. And I go, there's two ways to go about that. One is to completely lose your mind and become Alex Jones and just start screaming. And, hey, he's made that work, but I'm not going to be selling Brain Force Plus. I don't think I'd be good at it. So I think the other way to do that is to go, you know what, look, I make fun little Star Wars videos. I don't think they're too politically contentious. And, you know, occasionally I might go, well, you know, here's an idea that is, and now this is starting to sound like I'm trying to do something sinister. No, honestly, I have the best of intentions. I'm like, I want to push progressive values. I made a video about those DC movies made by Zack Snyder.
Yep.
They're terrible movies, and part of the reason they're bad movies is that Zack Snyder hates women and has no idea how to write competent female characters who aren't being constantly thrown into victimized situations. Like, anytime anybody needs to save somebody in a Zack Snyder movie, it's always a woman screaming her head off. It's never a guy. You never see Superman swoop down and cradle a man in his arms. He has a very classically gender or whatever divide in the way he writes his movies. So, you know, in the middle of my DC Comics review, or whatever, DC movie review, I go, hey, there's some truth to feminism. There is such a thing as the male gaze. You know, occasionally women characters are not written in a way that modern women deserve to be portrayed. And, you know, if you're coming at it from a place where people go, well, you know what, I listen to this guy has a lot of ideas about media that I agree with. And maybe I, as somebody who normally thinks all the feminist agenda and everything is garbage, maybe I'll give that a try. Maybe I'll listen to that. So all these guys telling me, oh, you gotta get on there and red pill everybody and come out stomping and screaming, make 10 videos a day about how the world's being, you know, ruined by the progressive psychopaths. I think it's better to have a nuanced approach. I don't want to see that. I don't want to watch those. I know those channels are popular with some people, but I don't watch Alex Jones. I don't watch some of these other guys. It does not strike me as the way to win hearts and minds. I feel like you preach to the choir.
We already have
when
a quarter.
You come out swinging. Oh, you have the quartering.
Yeah,
we already have one. We don't need another one.
I don't even think.
I mean, you just have those
yeah.
guys that just want to strictly go. I'm completely dedicating to one side or the left. Here's the deal. I hate the fact that you can't appreciate that like you just said, you can have a nuanced opinion and approach to everything. You might have feelings that are here, you might have feelings that are there, and God forbid, someone can disagree with you and then still agree with some of the other parts of your... Like, you don't have to agree with someone. Me and Jim don't agree on a lot of stuff, but there is a lot of shit we do agree on, and we can still be friends, and we don't have to hate each other because everything isn't, oh my God, we see eye to eye on all the shit. Like, but Twitter and the way social media works, it's like, if you don't support all 10 points of my opinion, then you're a piece of shit. And it's kind of like, okay, well then you're in your own narrow box and do what you gotta do.
Well, that's what happens when people tell me, they go, I don't understand your politics or whatever else. And I go, well, is that you don't understand my politics, or you're having trouble coming to terms with the idea that some politics you don't have to pick a side. You can have different opinions on different issues. And the fact that that seems to confound people, and they start saying
it's amazing.
Then they start saying things where they're like, well, you're just one of those filthy centrists. I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm in the center. There is no center. This is an illusion, this idea of the center. What is a center? What does that even mean? There's no center. There's just different opinions on different things. It's not like if you like one... The whole concept of right and left is not even a thing. There is no direction. You can't say we're north, south, east, or west. So I just, everything that comes along, I go, yeah, I love abortion. Rip those babies out of people. And, something else comes along, and I'll be like, yeah, well, I don't know. You got to let people have their religion. You can't tell them they can't have whatever they want. It depends on the circumstance. I mean, you don't have to rip babies out of people. That was one of those extreme examples I was talking about. State-enforced abortion. Everyone's got to get at least one. No, not okay.
Well, I love those days where you're like actually like visibly bored and you're just like, I'm gonna fuck with both sides. So you spend 4 hours pissing off the right, and then you just without any warning, you just start going the exact opposite for 4 hours, and your thing is just people going, what the fuck are you talking about?
I just go like, man, gay rights, we need more drag queen story hour. Like, every kid's cartoon should have gay characters. And all these right-wing guys are like, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden, I'm like, we need more guns. Everybody should have a gun. Bring back firing squads. Have one in the public square. I don't support firing squads, but I see some validity in the right to bear arms. Again, there's no center, man. Just look at each issue and think about it. You're like, do I like guns or not? I like guns in theory. I think there should be much stricter regulations on them, but I wouldn't take them away from people. But that's just me, and you might think taking guns away, there's very good arguments for that, you know? I can see both sides of the issue.
That sounds like one of those...
That's what it comes down to, is empathy. Can you understand your ideological opponent? Mm-hmm. Sometimes can be hard. And sometimes maybe your ideological opponent isn't being rational when they're like, we need to ban everything. But if you can at least try to see where they're coming from, maybe you can make some sort of compromise. It's tough.
That sounds like dirty sentence talk there, Vito.
Yeah, god damn it. Filthy sentence.
What are you doing?
Don't try to understand your opponent. Just line them up, shoot all the people you don't like, and start a new government. Fascism is the way to be.
Cancel.
Cancel everybody until you're the only one left. That's the way to do it.
Vito, all I've heard is your racist Pop-Tart talk
here.
Yeah. And
I gotta quit it with that. I should only eat the black Pop-Tart. I haven't had a Pop-Tart in a while. I don't know what colors they got left.
Listen, the only thing we should all agree on is Pop-Tarts that were unfrosted were the worst.
Yeah, they really were, huh?
Yeah.
You want to warm up that frosting.
Fuck the apple cinnamons.
Were the apple cinnamon? I feel like all Pop-Tarts have. There's that weird kind of sugary taste that kind of like hurts to eat.
Yeah, it does a bit.
It like burns going down.
Pop-Tarts are one of the great examples of a food that seems like a good idea, and they seem so tempting. And yeah, halfway, even 2 bites in, you're like,
this sucks.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck was this?
Yo, but then Toaster Strudel showed up, and the whole game changed. Dude. Oh my god.
You pour that frosting on there, and of course, like anyone who did anything, just like with Lunchables and anything, you put a little bit of frosting on the first one, and then you smother the next one to high heaven, and that shit was goddamn delicious. You'd burn your mouth because you couldn't wait, because like anyone else, when you're a kid, you don't wait for shit to cool down.
Yeah.
But
or you're an idiot and you don't cook it long enough, and then it's kind of frozen in the middle, and you're like, no! I got too excited. I goofed it.
And then you make that terrible call of, do I actually heat it or do I just
power
right through it?
Yeah.
Yep. Same shit happens with like Hot Pockets and other frozen things.
Oh,
like,
there's no way I'm eating a cold Hot Pocket. I'll draw the line right there. No siree.
You're like, I'm not center line.
I love
there.
this frozen chunk of sausage forcing its way. No, sir. Oh, God. I haven't had a Hot Pocket in I will not eat that shit, man. Something about it. And I'm an idiot. I eat anything, so that's how you know you got a problem.
Well, you don't sit there with a lean pocket and go, I'm making a good decision right now. This is a perfectly fine lunch.
Lean pocket.
Yeah, the fact that, Jim, that's the thing. When you go to a lean pocket, it's like, don't try to make this like the health conscious decision.
Yeah.
Like, just go with the full bore hot pot. Don't be like, I saved 2 grams of saturated fat.
It's 80
like,
less
get the fuck
calories.
outta here.
Right, come on now.
Just
it's a numbers
eat
game.
the full hot pocket.
It is pretty absurd, man. You're already poisoning your body. Just go for full poison.
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Go for
That's
it.
why I'm a Keystone Light guy.
Oh, wait.
I have to temper myself.
Jim, shut the fuck up. Your Keystone Light, because you piss me off.
And cheap. Never forget
Wait,
cheap.
Jim. So wait, hold on. While Vito's on the topic of centrist and everything, you did have a topic here that I did want to talk about, and it's very interesting.
the Cottonelle?
I saw a lot of reaction. Yes.
Vito, did you have a look at this one?
Hold on. So as a reoccurring bit on here for the past couple weeks, we've had, Jim calls them gamer mad. It's just things that have really set gamers off. So Jim, this week, why don't you explain what came out that a lot of people reacted to?
Yeah, so this week's unnecessary gamer reaction is to Cottonelle, the toilet paper company. So they had a promotion they have a promotion in general called the Down There Care, and they had a promotion in Animal Crossing where you could scan in the codes for different things from Cottonelle. So, codes that says just Cottonelle or a piece of toilet paper, shit to put on your wall for like the paintings, I guess your custom slots. I don't play Animal Crossing, so I don't know the specifics of it. But yeah, it's all about like putting Cottonelle swag all over your, the bathroom of your Animal Crossing home, sending a picture to them using their hashtags, and they will send you a $2 coupon.
And Nintendo, this was done in conjunction with Nintendo, yes?
Apparently not, from what they were saying, because that was one of the first things. Is everyone going, well, there's no way Nintendo signed off on this, and I
didn't know that they would allow you to run those promotions or whatever, but I guess they can't really stop. Well, I don't know. Can they do an Animal Crossing promotion legally?
I don't know.
That's an interesting question.
I gotta look again real quick because I thought I saw like everyone was just like, there's no way this is like in line with Nintendo. And I think there is something they posted that said it wasn't specifically. Let me look at the terms and conditions real quick.
But that's my deal. How, what is going to stop if Nintendo allows people to upload shit like that? I'm sure there's a way to kind of get around the Nintendo pulling it down. And here's the deal. It's obviously goddamn stupid. But it's like any corporation that sees something really hot. We talked about, obviously, Animal Crossing is the hottest game of this year, arguably. And it's typical. They're just going to try and find a way to get in. And what the hell? If you're someone who does play this, it's like all those stupid little things like, hey, do this monotonous task and you get a coupon towards our product. Is it weird? Is it stupid? Yeah. But I don't know why
it's not worth losing your mind over.
Yeah, why are people acting shocked? This shit hasn't been going on forever.
Yeah, it's also completely optional. It's not like it's some exclusive thing you can't get unless you bend over backwards for Cottonelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you booted up the game and that was there, I'd be like, this is fucking weird.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is optional and you'd have to do work to put it in there, I'm like, okay, this is just a company. Somebody, they were like, they probably did let's do a brainstorming convention. And somebody's like, well, I play this game that everyone likes. And, it just went from there.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why people take Animal Crossing so seriously, is that I find that game to be very... Are any of you guys playing Animal Crossing?
I'm not.
Negative.
I don't have the time, unfortunately.
I find it to be a bit of a tragedy is that the millennial generation that was denied the promise of home ownership is now like, well, that'll never happen. So I might as well decorate a small little home and fill it with animals, because that's the closest thing I'm ever going to have to the dream of my parents. The American dream is I get to decorate a fake house and pay off a raccoon. So yeah, maybe that's part of it, is that they go, well, this is all I have. Don't turn this into a corporate thing, because then it just reminds me. It reminds me of the hideous consumerist world from which I cannot escape, and from which I derive no value or meaning in my life. Or maybe people just need to get over it. I don't know. But I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I'm also not playing Animal Crossing because I live that misery. You got to face that misery. You just got to own up to it. You got to go, yay, what can you do? Even now, it's even better, because now not only will you never have a house, but you're going to die of a horrible plague that the Chinese decided to give us for some reason.
And if you're one of 30 million Americans, you're about to be booed out of your apartment, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's going to be fun. Hey, you don't even get to... Not only do you not get to own a home, you don't even get to live in a home, moron. Have fun on the street. Oh, my lord.
Uh-oh, poor's mad. Hashtag.
Well, that's why people like us who grew up, I don't know about you guys, but I played the shit out of The Sims, and when a bill collector or something came in that game, you could wall them into a little area, and they wouldn't be able to get to you.
Nice.
So that was my version of Animal Crossing back in the day.
That was your rebellion against the man, against the landlord profiteers.
It's like, hey, I needed to spend money on that fish tank, God damn it! Don't steal it from me.
So yeah, Nintendo was not affiliated with the promotion at all. So
well, there you go.
There's
so
that.
No issue.
And then there's people complaining about, what, you think I'm just going to use my precious custom slots in my Animal Crossing house on this shit? It's like, this isn't like when iPhone just dumped a bunch of U2 songs onto your phone. I was like, oh, here you go. Like, it's completely optional. Like, you don't have to have it. It just,
and you can take it down afterwards, right?
Yeah, even that was so stupid that people got that pissed off. Like, I'm not even a fan of U2, but I don't give two shits that it was on my foot. Like, you could just delete it. Or you probably have fucking a million gigs that you only fill up after many months of having photos that you need to delete anyway. So you could just go in there and get rid of it. Like, people just get too mad about silly as shit, and that's what we've been talking about. Like, it's just amazing how that's the perfect sign that we live way too comfortably and in a great time, that you can get mad about free shit or people trying to give you coupons for toilet paper.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
When you do look at the absurdity of what we complain about, it does become it becomes very sad. You know, my grandparents had to suffer through a literal Holocaust, and I'm over here, I don't want toilet paper in my Animal Crossing. Let me talk to these raccoon people without any toilet paper. What are you doing, man? Go outside, put your feet in the grass. Go pet a cat. Knock it off with this. What are you
By the way, it's toilet paper at a time when toilet paper was a hot commodity during this goddamn pandemic, so they're trying to help you doubly.
Although I'll tell you right now, I got a bidet. Oh, my God.
Smart man.
Do you guys not have a bidet?
I don't. I hear it's life-changing.
No.
I want you to change your life today. Everybody listening to this podcast, you're going to change your life. You're going to come to me. You're going to come to me in a year, and you're going to go, Vito, thank you. Thank you, sir. For I live like a king. I am now king among kings. Bidet costs like $20-$30 on Amazon. People always think it's some like crazy electronic device. It just uses your water tap. It shoots up your water tap. It does not shoot. And the other thing everybody thinks, they're like, well, I don't want the toilet water to go up my ass. It's coming straight from the pipe. It has never touched your toilet, you moron. Okay? Shooting a thing of water up your butthole is the greatest feeling in the world. It cleans it in a minute. I don't even use toilet paper anymore. I don't need it. I'll use one square to get a little dry it off before I head off. It is insane to me the amount of years that I was a slave to toilet paper infuriates me when I think about it. Get a bidet. This is my only thing I can implore onto you. And stop with these lines for this toilet paper. It's insane. Every civilized country, the French. I mean, everybody likes the French, right? They know what they were doing. Japanese, they know. Live in the future. Get a bidet.
Now, did you get splurge for the ones that will warm it up for you, or is it just cold stream of water up the old poop chute?
Now I'm ready to move up, I think. Now, if you live in a cold state, it is possible that the water coming out of your pipe might be cold. So you might want to look into one of the ones that does kind of find a way to heat it up. But I'm in California. Our water is is wonderful.
Yeah, you left us.
90 no matter what.
You forget the
Yeah.
You forget the Northeast and its cold ways.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, you can look it up. You can figure out a way to make it work. They got ones that'll heat it up. Just, oh my God, it's incredible.
Now, one of my favorites.
Oops,
sorry. I was just gonna say one of my favorite.
No. Go ahead.
One of my
Jim.
favorite things about the tweet that went out and the hate that went towards it. Vito, this sounds like a tweet that would be sent your way. So my favorite response is, you guys have a great opportunity to end stigma about bodies, change an entire culture, and possibly protect your young children from assault. Why the fuck would you insist on saying down there? You're not helping anything. This is also sad and lame, and I can't tell if this is satire or not. I want to say it is, but I just don't know.
They said, what about down there?
Yeah, what's the issue with down
You have
there?
a great opportunity to end stigma about bodies, change a culture, and possibly protect young children from assault. So why would you insist on saying down there? You're not helping anything. I guess this is a trans issue, I want to say. Maybe just...
Yeah, I was going to say, is that because they want us to, what do you call it? Instead of saying vagina, you're supposed to say front hole?
I guess so.
No, but I mean down there just
seems generic
means
enough. Seems safe
down
enough.
there. Like I was gonna say, like I don't if I've heard the term down there, I don't put that to anything. I just talk about generally down there. I don't know what that is. That specific to something?
Chosen genitalia care. That is what the hashtag should be.
What? No, it's not.
No, it isn't. But I'm just saying,
Oh,
I think
okay,
in
I was
this
gonna
person's
say.
world, that's what they would like to see coming out of this.
So down there is apparently harmful to body image.
I mean,
Okay.
call me crazy, but when 99.5% of the population, or probably 99.9%, I don't know what the exact numbers are. If 99.9% of a population has arms, can you say women have arms? Or do you have to specify that some women have arms? Like, I know there are women that don't have arms, but I don't also feel the need to, on behalf of disabled people, say some women have arms. You know what I'm saying?
This is true.
No, I know what you're saying, but that even doubles my point of I still don't get down there is a location on the body, not a specific. So that I'm just very confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Damn you,
this
Jim.
is just part of the entire, like, and there's just a lot of that. Besides the typical, like, people complaining about, why would I use my precious spots on this? Then it's like, then don't. Like, why is there, like, 100 comments saying the same things right now?
Because, Jim, somebody's got to be the clever one that writes something that points to their outrage the best. Come on.
Must be first.
Yeah,
Have to be first.
outrage is the currency of the future.
Yeah. Or just the clever wit of like, oh, I'm the one that's really going to show this big corporation with how clever I am that I'm saying how stupid their product is, and they'll see it and they'll rechange their mind. I really feel like there's some people that take that much time to write their shit. They're like, I'm going to put this up here and make sure everyone knows.
Yeah, but I just think, like, over the last couple weeks, like, we looked at Gamer Girl, we looked at Last of Us, we looked at a bunch of things that were, like, unnecessarily, like, outragey. And I'm just like, oh, we're at the point where we're yelling at toilet paper companies now. Okay. Well, we've lost all hope at this point.
People are bored, Jim. People are bored.
That's all I was going to say, too. Like, is this a product of just being stuck inside for 4 months and having nothing else to do? That the little thing sets you off at this point?
Oh, God, it might be. Might be that
Well, Jim,
we've regressed, yeah.
I mean, we've seen since the beginning of this whole thing, Jim. What was the uptick in OnlyFans memberships and creator accounts?
Oh, exponential.
And then
Like 10,000%?
Like, we've hit the whole gamut of everything you could do once you're bored at home with internet. And getting mad at toilet paper, that's just the next frontier.
If I was a young woman, I would have an OnlyFans. My God. Free money to get naked.
You know what's funny? We said that, like, you say that, but then at the same time, I also look back, Jim and I even said, like, you know, we were in college by the time MySpace, Facebook, and shit like that came out. If I was younger and had access to that stuff, the stupid shit I would have put out there that would have been public record. And the same way, some people are jumping to do these OnlyFans, and then, who knows?
Well, it's...
Hey, I don't know,
5
man.
years.
I think that hopefully the future, someone goes, yeah, I had an OnlyFans in college. You go, nice.
in a perfect world.
Yeah. That's how I'd react. Someone comes to me and they want to work for me, and they go, I had an OnlyFans in college. I go, all right, this person knows how to party. This is the kind of person I want in my company.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not the kind of person who. I think this whole idea of professionalism, it's an outdated idea. You have some fun. God damn it. We've realized that the world is a sick, sad joke at this point. If you're not having fun, what are you doing? There's just too much nonsense to not. I mean, maybe at some point humanity will rediscover a new consciousness and will evolve into the great eternal sphere in the sky. But right now we're just hideous animals screaming at each other. And yeah, I don't know. Get naked on the internet. That'll pay your rent. Why not? Pay your rent. That's what you. The system's stacked against you, man. Do whatever you can. If that's going to pay the bills, then congratulations, you won at capitalism. That's the only rule of capitalism. Are you making money? Yes. Did you kill anybody? No. Then you did it right. You're fine. Those are the only two rules. Okay? Don't poison anybody. Don't cut their don't harm anybody. But if you can make money without hurting anybody, congratulations. You've beaten capitalism. Do it. Get it done.
Would be a perfect world.
Hear that, Jim?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we live in a world where right now it's like, oh, what did I post on Facebook back in 2007? Oh, I'm sure that won't come back and bite me. I don't know what I posted.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God. I don't know how I've escaped though, because like all these people, it comes out, it's like, oh my God, the horrible things they said about this race and that race, and I'm like, I don't think I ever did that. Hopefully, like I really just was never that guy.
Right.
But then all these like normal people, it comes out that are just full of hate, and you're like, I don't know. In high school, I was playing Halo, man. I wasn't posting this shit. Jesus.
Was anyone recording me on Xbox Live in 2009?
Yeah,
God,
okay,
I hope
maybe,
not.
Maybe like in the basement we would use some uncouth language, but I don't think we were hate mongers. Holy
Well, that's
Lord.
the difference too. Is like you get stories of something actually bad, and then people looking for anything that could be construed as bad, and then it's like, but I didn't even mean it like that. It doesn't matter how you meant it. It's just, yeah, that's why like the posting of the shit, taking shit out of context, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting times.
Are we that first world where this is the peak of what we have to deal with? This is the peak of
No, man. It's about to descend into chaos. Enjoy it while it lasts.
That's
Like,
a
if
good
you don't
point,
think
too.
we're on the brink of literally they're burning buildings down. If you're sitting back and going, it'll blow over, we'll be back to playing Nintendo games. No. You got another couple of years of fun before everybody's shooting at each other. So just whatever. Have a bit of fun. Start an OnlyFans. You know?
Enjoy it now.
Pay your rent.
Get yours now.
And-
That's the lesson
Yeah.
of today's episode.
There you go.
Yeah, Jim. So your OnlyFans will be coming out soon.
Well, I hope they like nipples with like 3 hair strands on them, because then I'm gonna rake in all the dough.
Oh, yeah.
So to answer Ashley's question from earlier, yes.
Damn it, Jim.
I need.
All right.
So, did we have anything else, Jim?
Nah, I think what do you call it? I think that's gonna be good for this episode.
All right,
Fantastic.
well, first, let me say, Vito, we truly appreciate you coming on board. And
thank you so
for
much,
anyone
man.
watching, please make sure we have all of his links below.
Vito, show right now. Show all your stuff.
Yep.
Go to youtube.com/Vito for all the latest Vito videos. Plenty of hilarity in store for you. Why not check out my Last Jedi review? Why The Last Jedi is a complete cinematic failure. One of my most popular videos and beloved by all. If you'd like some Vito merchandise in your life, including my beloved card game Enemy Weapon, check out enemyweapon.com. That'll also give you a link to the rest of my store where I make stupid t-shirts that are kind of funny. Other than that, take care of yourself, God bless, and start an OnlyFans. That is the only advice I have for you, the beautiful young woman looking to make a mark on the world.
That's right. All right, everyone, and thank you for sticking with us. And as always, if you aren't already, please make sure you subscribe below. We're available wherever podcasts are available. And if you can, wherever you listen to us, why don't you give us a good rating, even if you want to bash us. And until next time, guys, cheers.
Cheers, guys.